Hello and welcome to the Ellen Made Book Club and a very casual kind of reading catch-up kind of video. I haven't done a June wrap-up video and I'm not sure I'm feeling in the mood to do that, and I don't think I want to wait to do June and July wrap-up video, so I just figure I would do something a bit more casual. Not that my wrap-up videos are formal, but like they're a little bit more structured perhaps, and I don't know, I want to talk about some books that I've read, but maybe not in as much depth as I usually would. I don't know. I want to show you the books that I have from the library at the moment, what I'm currently reading. I have a book mail box that I want to open, and I have had a book sent to me by an author that I want to show you, and I just have a little bit of everything that I just want to catch you up on, because I know that you just have to know these things, right? So in case you're interested, I guess. So where to start? I guess I'm going to start with the books that I have read. So a little bit of a mini wrap up from the beginning of June. I started my reading month in June with My Friends by Fredrik Backman. And if you watched my tier ranking video, you know that I really enjoyed that. But I think it sounded like I didn't enjoy it a lot, or like, I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I think I talked about it in my mid-year freakout tag video as well. And it's definitely an emotional ride. I laughed, I cried, I felt all the things. And I think it's a fantastic book and I would highly recommend it. It's about teenage friendship and that sense of freedom that you have in your summer holidays, and also really rough home situations and like family situations, and found family and art and dreams and, being there for your friend. And yeah, it's just a book that keeps you like choking up throughout. I had a really good time reading that. I thought it was very good and I enjoyed it very much. It does have this like magical glow to it, like a summer evening kind of glow, but there's also darkness, but like it didn't feel as harsh and cold as the Beartown series, which also has humor and warmth and all of that, but like this one is a lot more golden. I don't know how else to describe it. That's just the feeling I got. I thought the audiobook was very good. The narrator does a fantastic job. I did find it a little bit tricky to keep track of the different characters, like the ones in the friend group. And maybe that was because it was audio. I don't know. They all had such intense like home situations, and it was a lot to keep track of. I have a very strong sense of them as a friend group, but I don't have a very strong sense of like this character has this specific situation and this character has that specific situation. But also like I'm not reading a book like that to like learn the facts and score on a test afterward. I don't really care about that. The feeling and experience of reading the book was still fantastic, and I really had a great time and would very much recommend the book. I thought it was great, but I still think that Beartown is better in terms of like theme or message or like just the storytelling. The storytelling was really good in this one as well, and there's lots of little reveals along the way and like it builds towards something, and but I think that Beartown has a lot clearer of a storyline, which is not necessarily better or worse, it's just different. But okay, those are my thoughts. And then I read Rabbit Hole by Kate Brody, which I talked about quite a bit in my vlog that I did. And I enjoyed this one as well. I think I gave this 4 stars, and not because it's necessarily super high in quality. I gave My Friends 5 stars, by the way. I thought it was great. Anyways, this one follows a woman. She is trying to figure out what happened to her sister who has disappeared 10 years ago. And because also now her dad has taken his own life and he has been trying to figure out what happened to the other daughter. and they're following stuff on Reddit, and it's a bit mixed media, and it's to do with grief and family dynamics. And I read this as a kind of like, not guilty pleasure, but like I had a bit of distance reading it. So I wasn't super emotionally involved, but I feel like if you read it more like that, it could be quite emotional. But I read it almost as like reality TV or something, which is weird because that would mean that you were more emotionally invested than fiction because it's reality, but like it's not reality because it's, you know, whatever. I had that kind of similar feeling where you're just like stuffing yourself with popcorn and just like following the drama. That was more my like attitude going into the book. So yeah, I will say there's something that happens to an animal in this book. So if that's something that is a deal breaker for you, don't read this book. If you want some crime fiction with a bit of emotional depth and family dynamics and relationships and, you know, a bit of roughness, but like not too scary or anything, this one might do the trick. It's not one that I would necessarily recommend to everyone, but like I thought it was a fun time. I think this was more like a palate cleanser for me. It wasn't something that I was super connected to, but it was just what I needed. It was fast-paced and easy to get through and engaging enough for me, but like without being so emotionally taxing. So yeah, if that's what you're looking for, this one might be a good option for that. And then I also read The Queens of Sarmiento Park by Camila Sosa Villada, which is about a group of transgender sex workers in Cordoba in Argentina. And this was fantastic. This was a 5-star read for me. I really enjoyed it. And I think that it's a good book. It's well written. It's beautiful. It had a lot of little quotes and things that I thought were very cleverly put, or like, you know, I really appreciated the little quotes. It's funny, it's heartbreaking, heartwarming, lots of found family and heartbreaking situations, and like lots of insightful commentary on the experience of being transgender. The author herself is transgender, and it's also like reclaiming the terminology that is being used in a negative way to describe trans women, and they're sort of taking it back and using it themselves. Or the author is. I thought it was a powerful read and informative and insightful and just very human and just very like compassionate. And yeah, I would highly recommend this one as well. And then I also read We Will Be Jaguars by Nemonte and Nenquimo, which I read a physical copy, but I had to return that to the library. That was another 5-star read for me. I thought it was fantastic. It's a nonfiction book by an indigenous woman in Ecuador who is fighting against big oil companies to save the rainforest and succeeding in that. And the memoir is following her from childhood and up until present day, and we get to hear her story about missionaries coming to the rainforest and that whole experience, and like religion and colonialism and just like the attitudes and the arrogance of white people coming to the rainforest, and also like the government in Ecuador and just the greed of it all and how it ruins everything. And yeah, it was just a very powerful book again. Very much worth a read. I feel like I got a lot out of it. I thought that I had a pretty good sense of that situation, both in terms of like the rainforest and in terms of how indigenous peoples are treated. One thing that I did find interesting was this discussion about poverty, because I remember at university I took a course and in that I chose to focus on indigenous people in South America. I can't remember which country, maybe Bolivia. Anyways, but there was a lot of like statistics and saying that indigenous peoples were, living in poverty in higher rates, and like the poverty was worse in those groups. And like, I'm not saying that's not the case. But there was also a discussion in this book in We Will Be Jaguars about, what is poverty, and, if you just measure it in terms of money or clothes or like material things, sure, they are probably more poor than someone who's living in a more like Western lifestyle or like a capitalist, materialistic lifestyle. But in terms of like just richness of life, they're not poor. And yeah, there's just a lot to be considered when it comes to that, and like living in harmony with nature and in harmony with yourself and with each other. And they were talking about like how they used to wake up and share their dreams with each other, and then they had a radio all of a sudden, and so they would just listen to the radio and no one would wake up and share their dreams anymore. And yeah, just things like that, that just is a very good reminder of how many things we are living with in everyday life that aren't really part of the natural human experience, if that makes sense. We're not meant to watch a screen all the time, or just be bombarded with information and impressions of things. We're supposed to take it a bit more easy and be more in tune with nature and ourselves and each other, and take care of each other and life around us. And it's something that I think will be a recurring theme in any literature by Indigenous people, because that's just much more of a core value. And yeah, that was present in this book as well. And I would highly recommend it. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm very glad I read it. The next book I read was The Compound by Aisling Rawle, and I listened to this on audiobook, and this was a very different vibe, more along the lines of Rabbit Hole. This was a book that I read for entertainment. It's a kind of a social experiment kind of book. It's described as like Love Island meets Lord of the Flies. So it's like a reality TV show where they have to partner up and like find someone to share a bed with. If you wake up alone, then you're out. But then there's also like challenges, and it's playing with like group psychology and how far you're willing to go for the rewards that were available and the punishments. And yeah, it takes kind of a sinister turn, or like there's a bit of an ominous feeling throughout the book, and you're kind of wondering where it's going and what's gonna happen, because it's not just like finding a partner or like romantic dates and stuff. It's not that. It's more like doing challenges. They do challenges as a group and individual. There we go. Okay. They're doing challenges both as a group and as individuals, and they get rewards, and yeah, it's very interesting, and I had a really good time. There were moments where it felt kind of slow, and like, is this all there's gonna be? Like, is this just gonna be a season of this reality TV show, but like in a book format? Like, I hope it's going somewhere, but it does go somewhere. And yeah, I thought it was really good, and it also has some, not commentary, but it's thought-provoking in terms of, I don't want to spoil it, but like, it's a little bit more thought-provoking than it might sound. So yeah, I thought it was a very enjoyable read, and it was well written and a story well told, and a lot of interesting dynamics and twists and turns. And yeah, I would recommend that one as well. I've had some really great reading this past couple of months, so yeah, I'm very happy about that. I also finally got to Fundamentally by Nussaibah Younis. I got that from the library, and I have since had to return it. So yeah, but I read that as a physical copy as well. They bought it on my suggestion, and so I'm very happy with that. And yeah, I really enjoyed that one as well. So in Fundamentally, we're following Nadia, who is a British academic, and she is dumped by her girlfriend, and she's offered a job with the UN in Iraq, de-radicalizing ISIS brides in this like refugee camp. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of like serious situations and commentary as well on like religion and aid, like international aid, and working with refugees, and you know, the expectations on immigrants and expectations on people who are religious. And we're like saying we have religious freedom in a lot of like Western countries, but we're only like allowing certain types of religion and like in certain forms. And there are a lot of interesting characters in this book, and you don't always know who to trust. And I thought it was such a funny book and so like intelligently written. There were a lot of situations and sort of thoughts that I could relate to, and I have not been in that particular situation, but I have been in kind of similar situations in my work life. And so I recognize some of these like dilemmas or absurd situations or absurd kind of humor that you sort of have to, I don't know how to put it, but like, you know how people who work in healthcare can usually have kind of a dark sense of humor around death and, you know, things like that. And I think that it's similar in any profession where you're working with people and you really do care a lot and you want to do good. But then it's like, at some point you're just helpless and it's just impossible and it's just so absurd because the world is messed up. So you just have to laugh at the absurdity of it all and like how messed up things are, because that's all you can do. Like, you can break down and cry, but you can also just like sometimes just have to laugh about it, because it's absurd beyond, you know, what even is reality. I'm not really making a lot of sense about the book perhaps, but I loved it. I thought it was very engaging. I flew through it. I didn't want to put it down. I just wanted to keep reading it. I loved it. 5 stars. No notes. Like, I thought it was a perfect book. And it might not be for everyone. Like, if you're not interested in that at all, or if you don't maybe get that kind of humor, or like you don't think that it's funny to joke about refugees or religion or international aid, you know, this one might not be for you. But if you have any sort of experience in that field, I think that you will find a lot of things relatable and messed up. Like, I'm not saying that the things that are absurd are good. Like, it talks about, you know, corruption within international aid and how to work with locals and stuff like that. And it's not good, but it's like, it's just absurd and impossible. And yeah, anyways, so Nadia goes to this refugee camp in Iraq to work with the ISIS brides. And there's one woman there in particular who she connects with, or like that she takes a special interest in and wants to help, and things go all kinds of ways. And it's, yeah, very engaging and entertaining and insightful and just great. I loved it. Those are all of the books that I have read and finished that I want to talk about in this video. I'm currently reading Legendborn by Tracy Deonn, which is a fantasy series. I'm about a third of the way through this first book and I'm enjoying it so far. I started this early. I wanted to read it in August for August, which is a reading event hosted by Mariandrea at Books and Bocadillos and Suey at Suey's Book Banter, where the point is just to read young adult fiction or nonfiction. And yeah, this was a series that I have been wanting to read. And so I decided to try it now. And I figured I should start early so that I could finish it in August, but I might finish it before August. I don't know. We'll see. It's about the middle of July as I'm filming this, so maybe I have gotten further in it by the time this video goes up. But anyways, enjoying it so far, and I'm definitely going to continue. And then I do have Hours by Philip B. Williams on my TBR, just like hovering around and wanting to be read. I haven't started it yet. I think this one might Legendborn is almost 500 pages, so this would also count for Big Book Summer. As would Two Twisted Crowns by Rachel Gillig, which is another book that I have out from the library right now. And this is the second part in the Shepherd King duology. The first one is One Dark Window. I enjoyed that so last year, but I want to read the second part in the duology and see what happens. And then I also have Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Iyemide, which is a thriller. There's a school setting and girls go missing, and yeah, it seems good and I'm intrigued. And then I also have a bunch of new releases that I had suggested for my library to purchase, and so they did, and now I have them all. I have The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers, which is about two women who are both looking for their sisters, I think. Isn't that this one? Yes, and they disappeared in very similar ways, so they're trying to work together to solve that, and I've heard good things, and so I'm intrigued about that one. I also have Blackwood's Blue Sky by Eowyn Ivey, which is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, I think. Set in Alaska, and yeah, I've heard good things about this author, and so I've been wanting to try this one, and yeah, it sounds very good. I've seen a lot of people like in comments on people's videos saying that this was one of the best books I read this year, and so yeah, I'm very excited about that. And I also still have The Stolen Queen by Fiona Davis, which is a historical mystery with a dual timeline, and I was supposed to read this for historical readathon, but I didn't get to it, and it's just, you know, library and too many books and too little time and all of that. That's where we're at right now. And then I've had a book sent to me for review by an author, which is the first time that's ever happened, so I'm very excited about that and very grateful. This is Dive Beyond Eternity by Valeriya Salt. And this is a science fiction mystery, and it has to do with the Second World War, and there's time travel and a U-boat, a submarine, a German submarine, and there's a weapon on it, and yeah, it all sounds very dramatic. And I did read like the first chapter. The chapters are very short, and yeah, I'm intrigued already, and I did. Like, it has this. It weighs a lot. I don't know. It's like heavy, even though it's not very long. And this is just like sensory stuff, so it has nothing to do with the story or anything. But these are things that we appreciate as readers. Some people want a floppy book. I don't particularly like a floppy book. This is not very floppy, but it's like... I like that sound. And it feels very like... I don't know how to explain that. I'm looking forward to trying this one out as well, and if I do finish it this year, it could fulfill a bunch of prompts on the buzzword challenge. We have some celestial objects in terms of stars and whatever this is called. We have transportation in terms of a submarine, and we also have animals. I'm very intrigued, and thank you so much to Valeriya for sending this to me. And that is such a cool name, by the way. I said that to her as well. I was like, that sounds like a superhero. And then, like I mentioned, I have this package, which was very kindly sent to me by Melanie at a dark corner of the library. And this has been a long time in the making, but it's finally arrived, and I'm very excited, and I want to open it. Okay. Oh, this is so fun. Oh, there's a little card. No, I don't feel any pressure to share this in a video, but I'm going to anyway because it's exciting and it's a part of being on BookTube, and I got books, and so of course I'm going to share that. Oh, it's so pretty. Okay, I'm just gonna unwrap these. So I should say Melanie was doing a bit of a clear out. She had like duplicates and books that she'd gotten in different like subscription boxes and things that she just wanted to send to other people so that they can enjoy them and so that the books didn't, you know, take up space in her life. So yeah, she asked me which ones I would be interested in, and these are the ones that I chose. And I'm very excited about these, and they're very pretty. So the first one is Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I've never read anything by Ava Reid, and I'm very interested to do that. And this one sounded like something that I might enjoy. It's a retelling or like a reimagining. I don't know these stories, but like Macbeth is, you know, Shakespeare, right? I'm not very familiar with anything Shakespeare or anything like that, but I'm very curious to read this one. And it's gorgeous. And there's a bat, and this is like on the hardcover itself without the dust jacket, and it's just so pretty. Melanie said in the note as well, like if you don't like them, you can just use them as decoration, and that is definitely true. These are gorgeous. That's really cool. And then the other one is Goddess of the River by Vaishnavi Patel, which is also really beautiful. It's got gold on it and these gorgeous colors. And I have been wanting to read something by this author. I was going to read Kai Kay, but then I had that on my list of 25 books to read in 2025. And so I just kind of got tired of seeing it on there. So I lost my interest in reading it, or like that just, if it's on my radar for too long, I'm like, I lose interest. So maybe this one is a better place to start. Yeah, and it's just so beautiful. This is also a retelling, but it's like based in Hindu mythology, which I've never read anything about before. I've read some Greek mythology retellings, but never anything from Hindu mythology. So I'm very interested in this one. That is absolutely stunning. That's very cool. They are very pretty, and I'm also very excited to read both of them. I think that this one, Lady Macbeth, is going to be perfect for fall and like the, darker, moodier months. And yeah, I'm very curious about it. And Goddess of the River is also one that I'm very curious about, and one that would go very well with my diversity book bingo. So yeah, thank you so much, Melanie, for sending these to me. I'm very grateful, and they were definitely worth waiting for. I think that's it for this little reading check-in that turned out to be a bit longer than I had planned, but anyways, I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, let me know any of your thoughts on any of the books that I have mentioned. And thank you so much again to Melanie and Valeriya for sending me books. That's very much appreciated. And yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Why is it so dark in here?